Welcome to Ruby on Rails, the Steno demo. We're going to follow the same journey that David Hannemeyer Hansen took us on in his Rails version 7 demo, showing you how to get started with the Rails framework, build a blog application, and then deploy to production. But we'll be doing the building using a stenographic keyboard, the Georgi here, and Plover, an open source stenography engine. Stenography isn't just useful in courtrooms, but can be used for any kind of text entry, even during software development, in your text editor, including modal ones like Vim, the terminal, your browser, and even controlling your computer. So let's get started building with Steno. So first we're going to start by creating a new Rails application from the command line. So we'll go Rails new demo. And this will generate the skeleton of the application, including a bunch of structured directories and files to help kickstart our application, as well as install all of the dependencies that Rails uses by default. Okay, looks like we've got all of our dependencies, so let's cd over into our directory. I tend to do all of my coding in a terminal, so I'm going to leverage a program called Tmux to let me switch between all the programs we'll be using moving forward. So I'll open up a new Tmux session. Great. So now that we have our blank slate application, it's time to add some customization. We're going to build a blog, so let's create the definition for a post, which Rails calls a model. And we'll get help from Rails generators to automatically create the file and help us interact with it. These files that help us interact with the models are called controllers, and we also have files that help us display them, which are called the views. So let's start with generating that model there. So we'll go Rails, generate a scaffold, and we'll call it the post, and we'll give it a title. Which will be a string, and it will also have a content field in it, and that will be just text. Okay, let's see what that gives us. So let's take a closer look at what has been created here. So first, we'll have a look at the migration, which sets up the database table. So we'll just open up the application and we'll search for create posts. There it is. That looks like it. Okay, so as per our instructions in the generate command, we can see that the migration plan says that we want to create a table called posts. And in the database, and with each post containing a string title and a bit of text content. By default, Rails also populates each table with a set of timestamps, which is shorthand for creating two datetime fields for the created at and updated at information for each post. So note at this point, though, the table hasn't actually been created. The migration file is currently just our plan to create the table. We need to actually run this migration to do that, which we'll do very soon. But before that, though, let's take a quick look at the model for a post. So this is the file here that encapsulates each of the database rows. It's empty now, but we'll add more to it soon. Now the posts are interacted with in the posts controller. So let's open that up. Open up the controller file, and it is here. Let's just get this out of the way. It is here that Rails has auto-created a whole bunch of actions to interact with a particular post, well, to interact with posts. So here we've got code to create, read, update, and delete posts. So they're also known as CRUD actions. So we can go, say, page down, we've got update and destroy. If we go back up, we've got showing an index. So showing all the posts, showing a single post, showing what we should do when we should create a new post, edit a post, etc. So if the action here involves displaying a post in any way, Rails has auto-generated view files for the action in the form of markup templates. So for the index action, for example, so let's do index, so post index file. So in here, it contains the markup needed to show a list of all of the posts. Okay, so now that we've had an overview of what Rails generates for us, let's get back over to the command line so we can run our migration file to set up the posts table in the database. So we'll do Rails db and it's migrate. And oh, it looks like I haven't created the database yet, so let's do that first. So I thought that the bundler would have done that for me, but I guess it hasn't. So we'll go Rails db create. This will create a couple of databases for us for development and test. And now we'll run our migration file. Cool, that worked. So let's now have a quick look at the database schema that's been generated for us. So let's go back into the application here and let's go and find the schema. Oops, there we go. So we found the schema here. So you can see that we've got the post table created here. And so we're ready to start filling it with posts. So let's go and start up our server and do just that. So in order to do that, we're going to open up a new Tmux window. New Tmux window. That's not what I wanted to do. New. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Okay. So we want to run Rails server. Is it server? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Great. And the server has started successfully. Now let's move over and have a look at what that brings us up in the browser. So we'll move over to our browser here. We'll open up a new tab, and we'll go local host, and then it is 3, and then 1000. Okay, so here is the homepage that Rails provides by default, showing what version of Ruby and Rails we're using, but we want to go and see where our posts live. So let's go and see what the index view template we saw earlier looks like in the browser. So let's go and we'll go up to the where are we here? We want to get up to the address bar. So where are we? The address bar. Okay, cool, and we'll go / posts, not pastes, but posts. Okay, great. So looks-wise, this is pretty bare bones, but we've got the pages needed to be able to start populating our database with posts. So let's create one now. So we can say, for example, go and create a new post. We'll put in a title, and we'll call it where are we here? So hello world, and we'll tab over to the content, and we'll go. This is the first post. Great, and we'll press the create post button, and we get told that the post was successfully created. So when we press the create post button, it will go to the create action to put the post in the database and then redirect back to the show action. So you can see here that we're actually on the show page for this particular post. So here is this is actually the post detail page. And we can go back to where we were, of course, back to the index page. So let's go back to posts. And this is our index page. So we can see that our new post is now in our list of posts. So by default, The views do not show us any information about the timestamps that were added in the post migration, but that does not prevent us from adding it in ourselves. So let's say we wanted to show what time or when a particular post was created. So we could do that under the title. Let's move back over to our terminal, and we'll switch over to our editor, and we'll go over and we'll open up the partial view, the view partial that is related to posts. So I think that should be post here. That looks like it. Okay, cool. So let's say we wanted to show the time when the post was created under the content here. So let's kind of go down here, and we'll insert a new line, and we'll say, okay, I want to create a AP tag here. We're not going to want any IDs or classes. We can get rid of them. So let's now put much like the rest of these other p tags here, we'll put in a strong tag, and we'll say that we want to show posted. Cool, that looks good. And then below that, what we want to do is show a timestamp. So we'll use a Rails method called time tag. And here, what we want to show within that time tag is the post dot created at value. And from here, I don't think we need any of this information there. So I think that should probably do it. So now that we've done that, let's go back and have a quick look at what actually happened there. So we'll go back over to our browser, over in Chrome. Let's refresh the page, and cool. So we've added the posted date there. Cool. So before we continue any further though, let's make at least some effort to get these pages looking at least a little bit nicer before we continue. So we'll leverage this by using the SimpleCSS Framework. So we'll go over here, and we'll copy and paste the minified version of this CSS here. And let's go back over to our, where are we here? And actually we want to now that we've copied over the CDN hosted version of the style sheet, we want to paste it in the default layout that all views are rendered within in Rails. So let's go back over to the terminal, and we'll open up the application.html. There we go, the layout here. So this is the default layout that all views are rendered within, and we'll paste that right under the style sheet tag here, and we'll save that away. And let's go and have a look back on the page and see if it improved anything. And yeah, sure, looks like it did. So let's just quickly have a look and see if it looks any different with showing the post. Yep, okay, so we've got like a nice little button around destroy this post, and generally nicer fonts and colors. So cool. So let's go back to posts here. So now we have our CRUD actions for a resource. So these particular actions here work for, of course, rendering HTML for a particular resource, but there is also, but they also work for a JSON, for rendering a JSON API. So say, for example, if we go up to the address bar up the top here, and we will go over to the end, and we'll do like dot and JSON. We can see here that it will show us the JSON object for this particular post here. So this particular post is in. This is for the entire collection of posts. So you can see here that we've got a collection of just one post here. So this represents a data source that could be exposed as a public application, public API, I should say, or be consumed by, say, a single page application. And if we switch back to the application and let's go back over to the controller, and if there's any special handling that needs to happen, for example, let's go back up here for the create method here. So if there's any special handling that needs to happen on a per request type basis, I should say. So here, for example, between HTML and JSON, this is all of this information is configured in the controller. So you can see here for this particular action, the create action, what happens after a new post is created and successfully saved. Whenever it is an HTML request, we redirect off to the post show page for that particular post, and we put in a notice saying post was successfully created, as you saw before. But for a JSON, if it was a JSON request, we just go and return a success object for that request. Okay, so from here, let's go and we'll open our model file back up again. And let's start developing our domain model by adding some validations to posts. So we want to make sure that, oops, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Neither was that. There we go. So we want to make sure that a post contains all the information that we want or that we require them to have before saving them to the database. So we can codify that requirement by use of a validation. And we can do that in this case. Let's say, for example, we want to make sure that a post must have a title, otherwise it's not valid. So we'll add in a line that is validates presence of, and it will validate the presence of a title. And I don't think we're going to need any of this here just for now. And great, we'll just save that away. So that's all we need here. And if we go back and attempt to make a new post without a title, so let's go back here, let's go back, and let's say we want to go and make a new post. Okay, so let's go and attempt. So we'll leave the title bare there, but if we go and put in the content here, let's say. We'll say it's a missing title. And then if we do this and then attempt to create a new post here, we get this big red error message that simply says that the post cannot be saved because the title can't be blank. Now this error is generated by the form itself. So if we go back over to the application, we can open that up and see what that looks like. The form, there we go. So this lives under the app views posts directory. We can have a quick look at where that actually is. And we can see that by opening up nerd tree here. Right, here we go. So app views posts and then form here. That's where we are. And you can see here in the markup that it says that if any of the posts were errors, this line here, that basically we should display those errors in line here. So the generation of those errors themselves can be traced back to the controller, as we saw before. So if we went back to controller, and if we go here, so for example, if we let's get rid of this, and we're in, so if the post fails to save, then we fall back down into this block here, and we can see that when we press the create button and submit the form, hits the create action, where we attempt to save the post, and if the post is valid, we can save it, and we go and redirect back to the show post page with a success message. But if the post is invalid and we can't save it, then we render the new action, so render new there, with a status of unprocessable entity, showing, and the form takes care of showing the post's error messages on the screen. So if we go back over to the form, now making an invalid post itself, so forgetting the title, for example, is an error that any user could potentially make. But what if it is a programmer that makes the mistake? So let's say, for example, we have in this form here a variable here called post, and let's say here we accidentally misname this one. We call it like post X. So we've just made a typo. What is going to happen here? So if we go back and reload the page with this error, and let's go and refresh. Okay, so it has given us this error screen, which shows us the exception being raised, the backtrace where the error is coming from, as well as a built-in console here that lets you basically check and manipulate the variables that have been assigned and are usable in the view. So we know here that that post is available. So post X isn't, but I mean we know that that post is here, for example. So post is there, but if we do post and then put an X there, and then we've got a familiar error message. So we're able to do that all within the browser. And of course, this console here is something that is available via a command line tool as well. So we can go and check that out as well. So let's go back over to the terminal. We'll create a new Tmux window here, and we'll do Rails console. Open that up. Great. So we can jump in here and basically directly interact with the main model that we've been building up here. So the post. So for example, if we do post first, we get given we get returned the post that we created just before in the browser. We can also create posts in the browser here. So if we do something like post create, and we do, for example, we'll add so it requires both the title and content. We want to have both the title and content, so we'll say that we want a title to be from the console, and we want the content to be there we go. We can just call this nice, and let's get the final parentheses on there, and cool. That seemed to have worked. You can see from the output there that we have started a database transaction to insert that post into the posts table. And now we have two posts in the database, and we can confirm that by querying the post table by saying post.all. Great. And we can see both of we can see the entire collection of the posts in the database returned to us. If we want to return just some of the posts, depending on some condition, we can make a query on it as well. So, for example, we can say post where, let's say created, and that's what is it again? It's created at. Is, let's say, for example, we want the posts that were created today. So we'll use Rails's time.now method, and we'll say all day. And okay, cool. So we've done that query. We just created all of our posts, so of course we're going to get all of the posts returned to us. But if we change the time scope to be yesterday, for example, so let's go Let's go back here and let's say we put yesterday. Then we get returned the empty array since all of our posts were created today. So all this querying that you've seen here is using the active record interface. And if we want to dig a little bit deeper and see what kind of database SQL query is being generated here, we can just add to SQL to our to the end of the query, and we can see here exactly what is being sent off to the console. Okay, so let's switch gears back from the database depth, and we'll go back over to the user interface. Oh no, actually, we'll go back to the application Tmux window here. Let's go back to the terminal, and we'll switch over to the application. Okay, cool. So currently, our blog only allows us to put plain text into the content of a post, which is a little bit boring. So let's allow some rich formatting to be added using one of Rails 7's newest features called ActionText. ActionText allows for what you see is what you get, editing for text, and we install it using the following command. We go Rails ActionText install. And okay, cool, that seems to have worked. So this command will add some JavaScript and CSS for a new rich text editor. It'll also add some migrations to enable uploading and storage of files using active storage, and some gems, dependencies, for image processing to allow them to be responsive and show smaller versions for mobile screens and stuff like that. So for this blog, we'll be storing files locally, but in production, we'd use a cloud storage platform like Amazon AWS or Google Cloud. Okay, so since ActionText adds some new gems to install before we continue, we're going to have to run bundle, there we go. Okay, so we'll wait for these dependencies to be installed. Okay, they've completed, and now we run those new migrations. So much like before, we do Rails db migrate. All right, that seemed to have worked. So now we have to go and set up our posts model to say that we are going to use ActionText. So let's go and open that up again. Let's go and find our post model. Okay, so we want a new line here. And what we are going to do is we'll say that a post has rich text. Okay, and we want the rich text to be inside of the content field, and we're probably not going to need to worry about encrypted stuff here, so we'll get rid of that. So from here, if we go and jump over to the form, so let's go and where are we here? So if we go, that's not what I wanted to do. Back over to Chrome here. Oh, actually, no, before we do all of that, let's go back to the application here. We want to have a look at the form in the form code. Here we go, the posts form. Great. Okay, so let's go and have a look down at, I think it's, where are we? Line 19 here. No, line 21. Okay, so here. We can see here that instead the post currently has just a standard text area. So what we want to do here is we want to change this up, and we want to have this be a rich text area. We'll save that away. And before we go and have a look at that, switching over to the browser just reminded me we still have an error up here. So let's move over to the post, and we'll get rid of that error there. We'll save this away. Okay, so now we'll need to go back and restart the server, because we've added some new dependencies here. So let's just Control C out of that. We'll restart the server, and let's go back over to the new post page and check it out. So we'll go over here, and yeah, we're on the new post page. Let's refresh, and cool. Okay, so you can see here that we have a full editor built in now. So why don't we create a new post and give it a try? So here, let's say this is and rich, and let's move over to the content, and we can say here that we can use a rich text. And let's go back, and we can, let's say we'll go over to use, and then we'll select that word there, and we'll make that, what should we make that, bold? Command B, okay, cool. And let's maybe go over to the rich word here, and we'll select that as well, and then let's make that italic. Okay, great. So we can also here do, as well as use rich text, etc., we can go and do inline file uploads that can be dragged and dropped directly into the field here. So let's do that right now. I've got a file here that I created earlier, or that I had just ready for this occasion. So this particular file here will be uploaded in the background by active storage to either your local machine, like we're doing here in development, or your cloud provider of choice in production. So before we go and save this, let's just quickly add a name for this particular logo here, and let's just call it Rails logo. Go. Okay, cool. So let's now go and we can create the post. Hopefully that will work. Looks like it has. Post successfully created. With the image, we can see all the rich content displaying as we expect. Great. So now that we've got this going, if we go back to our posts here, so even though we can see the new rich content here, we can see, unfortunately, what's happened here is that the content that we put in the previous posts here doesn't seem like it is displaying anymore. And this is because we've changed the data type of a post's content from a simple text field to rich text, which is a bit more of a complex object. So we can go and fix this by doing a data migration in the console. So we'll take a bit of a slight detour off to do some data migration. We'll go over to the console, and let's go over to the, where are we here? We want to go and open up the console again here. And we'll just reload this. Okay, so reloading just made sure that we've got all the new code available that we need to use within the console here. So what we want to do here, in order to make everything right again, is include a text helper module that will give us access to a method called SimpleFormat, which transforms text into HTML, so we can take the plain text and put it into rich text. So what I'm going to do here is actually I want to include. That's not. I want to include. Okay, and I'm going to set camel case mode to be on. and we'll start with action view, and we want helpers, and we want to have text help. Oh, not that. Text helper. Okay, cool. So that's now we have a simple format method available to us. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go and find the first post. So we'll just say post, and we'll say that we will look at we'll say post dot find, and we'll say that it is the first post. All right, so we've got that. And now what we want to do is we want to take the original content that we put in there, and then re-update the content field. Basically take the simple text version of the post content and put it in the rich text version. So we're going to do that by saying post.update, and we're going to say we want to update the content. So the content. There we go. And update the content. And here we're going to use the simple format method. So we got simple underscore format. Okay. And then what the value that we want to put in here is the post, and we'll just say we want to read the original attribute that we had, and it is tribute. There it is, and read the attribute of the original content. And print. There we go. I think that will probably do it. Wrong number of arguments there. What have I done here? What have I missed? Post update. So it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Wrong number of arguments. Given to expected 1. Oh, I know what I've done. This needs to be a hash there. Okay, so there we go. Right, just the syntax was wrong. Okay, let's just double check that actually worked. We'll switch back over to the browser. Let's refresh the page. And did it work? Oh, hold on a sec. Let's go down. Cool, there we go. Content, first post. So that worked. All right, well, let's now do that with just the second post as well. And we'll do exactly the same thing. All right, let's go back over to the browser, refresh. And there we go. Content, nice. Okay. Great. Phew. All right, that worked. Data migration succeeded. Let's go back to actually building some more blog-related stuff and move right along. So going back to the rich text stuff, we can go and have a look at the JavaScript that goes and sets all of this up. So let's head back over to the terminal, and we can have a look over here, and we'll have a look at the import maps file, import map file. Okay, cool. So Rails 7 by default uses something called import maps, which allows us to use advanced JavaScript without having Node.js installed on our system. So we're just using ECMAScript modules to serve JavaScript as text through the browser. The NPM packages that we want to use are specified here, kind of like a gem file, and then this is just referred to as the import map file. So all of the packages that Rails ships with are at the top here. So for example, like Hotwire itself, which is turned on by default, as you can see, meaning that the Turbo and Stimulus frameworks are set up, and ready to be used. And when we ran the ActionText install task, it went and added these two entries here, the tricks and the ActionText pins. And let's and then from here over in application JS. So over in application JS there, you can see that the tricks and the ActionText modules, libraries get imported here, and that is what makes them available in the application. So what happens when we want to use some other packages from NPM? So let's say, for example, we want to make that created at timestamp. We go back and have a look at the browser there. So, for example, these posted times here. What if we want to make them a little bit more dynamic, and we want to rather than just display the time here, we want to have them display the relative time. So, like created 1 minute ago or created 3 hours ago. So what we can do is we can use something called the LocalTime npm package here. So this is where the GitHub repo is. It's a package that was created by Basecamp, and yeah, we can use that to do what we want. And the way that we do that is we add it to the system via an import map command. So let's go and have a look. We'll go back over to the console. Where are we here? So I want to go back to the terminal. Let's go back over to here, and I want to say import map. Import map. There we go. Import map pin, and I want to call local time. And this will go and fetch the package off of NPM, figure out which URL it should use based off the default content delivery network, or CDN, which in this case is JSPM. And we'll look at how to download a local version of the package in just a little bit, but for now we'll just depend on the CDN. Okay, so from here, let's go and have a look at the import map file again. So if we go import map file, there we go. And we'll see that a new pin has been added for local time that is pointing at the CDN. And then if we go over to application.js, where is that? So if we go application, there we go, .js. What we can do here is import it in and start using it. So let's say we do import default here, and let's say we want to do local time, and from the module local dash time. Okay, so we've imported local time, and then we want to start using it. So we'll do local time dot start and some parens there. Okay, cool. I think that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to save that. Okay, great. So local time is now ready to use. So let's go and open up the post partial and add a new bit of markup so that we can actually use it. So let's go and have a look at post. Maybe we'll do underscore post post. There we go. All right, cool. So we're back here at the time tag here. So we want to add a bit of markup and little option there to use it. So we'll just go over to the created at there, and we'll pass in time ago as a data local variable. So we'll go data, local variable, and we'll have this. We'll make that. What is that? Oops, not if I'm. That should be time ago, and that should probably do it. So this will convert the time into a human readable relative time in the browser. So that's all saved there. Let's go and see if that all actually worked. We'll refresh the page. Cool, it did it. So we can see here that the display of the time has changed. So we're able to take advantage of npm packages without having to run npm install or installing node at all locally. It's all running off of an API provided by the CDN. However, if you want a local copy and not use the CDN dependency, we can actually do that as well by tweaking the import map command we originally used. So we'll go back over to the terminal. We'll go back to the console here, and what we can do here is we can do import map. Import map, and we'll do pin local time, and then we'll do download. Okay, that looks like it's worked correctly. So, so we added the download flag to that command. So you can see it downloads the package into the Rails applications vendor directory there. So when we jump back into the import file, let's go and do that. Imports file, import map. Okay, cool. There we go. So you can see that the pin mapping has changed, and we get a comment there saying which version of the package we're pinned to. Great. And of course, if we go and we jump back over into the browser and we just refresh the page here, basically nothing has changed here, so everything is still working as expected, which is great. So taking stock of what we have so far, our blog has posts. It has rich content here and localized time or dynamic time, I should say. But let's add comments to the blog as an example of showing how we can build relationships between models, in this case between posts and comments. So let's go back to the terminal and use the Rails generator again. I'll get back over to the terminal. So, so rather than a scaffold like with posts, which generated a whole bunch of code for us, let's go the more manual route and specify a resource. We'll specify what's called a resource to generate, which will let us just write custom code right off the bat. So I think this is resource. Yep, there we go. And so our resource, we want that to be a comment, and within a comment, what we want to have is what we're going to call we want to have a references to a post. So this references entry here creates a foreign key and dependency in the model. So a comment will always be related to some post and never just exist on its own. And then also, much like a post, we want to be able to add in here content, which will also be a text of type text. Okay, so as you can see, much like the time that we created posts, there is a migration present to create the comments table. So let's take a quick look at that. Let's go and have a look at create comments. Might need to refresh this. Okay, yep, we found it. Create comments. Okay, so the first line under the create comments table here, So this is to set up the foreign key reference to the posts table, which is of course not allowed to be null. And by Rails convention, in this case, the field will be called post_ID for the name of the table being referenced, the posts table. And of course, we have the content field, which is of type text, as well as timestamps that Rails gives us for free. So let's go back over to the command line here, and we want to be able to run this migration again. So Rails db migrate. Okay, so now the comments table exists, but how do we hook up posts and comments together in the application? Well, we do this via the model, and what we want to do is let's first open up the post model again, and here we want to be able to tell the post that it can have many comments related to it. So we can do that. Actually, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's put it below here, and we'll say a post has many comments, and we're not going to use any of this extra information here. We'll just leave it at that. So the flip side to this is after saying a post can have many comments, we want a particular comment to always belong to a post. So if we go and have a look at the comment model itself, so open up comment, and it's already there for us. So we can see that that due to that post references field that we added in the migration, Rails has put in a belongs to post in the model for us. So that's pretty handy. So now that we've got those two models hooked up via code, let's go and have a look at that relationship in the Rails console. So let's switch over to the console here. We'll do a reload because we've got some new tables. So we want to be able to bring all that information in. So let's go and find the first post. So let's go, where are we here? So post equals, and we'll do post dot first. Okay, and so that model relationship we just created from post to comments, it provides us with some convenience methods on a post object here that we can use. So to see how many comments this particular post has, we can say post.comments. Okay, so unsurprisingly, this post has no comments on it, so we get given back the empty array. So how about we create a comment here? So we can go back here and we can say post comments, create, and let's say we'll add in the content, and we'll have that be like the first comment, just singular, there we go, first comment, and there we go. So we've done that. Let's go and ask what its comments are now. Okay, so that comment that we just created, we can see now that it is related to that. We can see now that it is considered one of the post comments there. So if we grab that first comment there that is in the array, so if we go post comments dot first, and let's go over to where are we? We want to go to over here. Let's assign that to a variable, and we'll do equals. Okay, so that particular comment there, if we ask it what its post relationship is, so if we go comment.post, we can see that we get the original post. So we can confirm that posts and comments are all hooked up bidirectionally in the application. So this is all well and good, but there's currently no way for our users to interact with comments on the web UI, which is a bit sad. So let's go and allow them to do that. So first, let's open up the post show template. We'll move over to our application. We'll open up the post show template here. And we'll do this by adding a named partial that we'll call, let's say, posts comments. So let's see here. So after render posts, we'll say, here we go, and we'll say render partial instance, and from here we'll call this the posts comments. We'll call it, yeah, that's the partial name, and then the model that we're going to pass in is going to be post, and that should probably do it, I think. Oops, backspace. Okay, so what has this done? What this has done here is that we've made a reference to, and we'll create it in just a sec, a reference to a new partial called posts/comments, and we're passing in a local variable post here, which is going to contain the value of the instance variable post. So let's now go and create this posts comments partial. So let's open up Nerd Tree over here, just so we have a bit more of a bearing of where in the application we are here. And let's see here. So if we go into the views directory here, we don't seem to see the comment views here. So let's just refresh that. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Okay, so under posts, we want to create the comments partial. So we want to add the child node. It's going to be a partial. We're going to call it comments.html .erb, and that should be right. Cool. Okay, so in this particular one, in this particular partial here, we want to have a heading of level 2, and I don't think we need any of the IDs or classes here, so we'll delete that, and we'll move over here, and we'll say that this should say we want the comments. Okay, from here we want to have a new div file, new div tag, I should say, and here we want to give this the, oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Is this going to work again? No, let's try that again. Div, and we'll go this here. We want to keep that, and we want this to be an ID of comments, and we don't want to have a class. Okay, that looks good. All right, great. So from here, now what we want to do is to render a post's comments. So we'll say render a particular variable here. We want to render the, so we've got access to this post variable here. We want to render the comments there. And what this particular statement is doing is it's actually shorthand for, I'll just put this in here, so comment there. And so this is actually shorthand for rendering a collection. So it'd be render partial collection. And so this would render a partial that is called comments comment, and it would be passing in the collection of post.comments there. Okay, and let's just go over and delete that. So this is so this line here is shorthand for this via as per Rails conventions. So basically, it means that it'll be rendering a partial called comment under the comments views directory. We'll create that in a little bit for every comment that a post has, and then so once we've done now that we've done that, at the very end we want to be able to also render the comments new partial. So we want a place to put in a to render a new comment, as in render the form to create a new comment. So we'll render a partial and cool. So from here, this will be comments/new, and in here we'll pass in the post. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. Great. So none of these partials that we have that we've talked about here exist yet, so it's time for us to go and create them. So first, we'll create the comment partial under the comments view directory. So let's move over here. So we've got currently got an empty app views comments directory. So let's go and create a new partial there, and we'll call that comment comment.html.herb, and let's go and edit it. Great. Okay, so from here, what we want to do is we'll create a new div tag, and we do want an ID here. What we're going to put inside of this ID tag is the DOM ID of the comment, which we'll use soon for some more fancy live updating of comments a little bit later. But just for now, this is a Rails DOM. DOM ID is a fancy, not a fancy, it's just a Rails, method for the DOM ID that we want for that we want to use with the comment. So have the ID be the DOM ID of the comment. Okay, and then I don't think we need this class stuff. Great, let's move underneath here. Okay, so we want so underneath this div here, we want to be able to display the content of the comment. So let's do that. So we've got the comment, and we want to display its content. Great. And also, as well as the comment content, we want to, much like a post, we want to be able to display when it was created. So we will we'll do a time tag. Oops, let's go try that again. Time tag. Oh, screwed it up again. One more time. Time tag. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be the comment dot created at, and much like with the we want to have dynamic time here as well. So we're gonna put data local. And we are going to have as its value here, like we did before, have time ago. Whew, okay, right, that's all in there. And right, that's that partial done. We'll save that away. And the next partial that we need to write is the partial for the new form. So let's go back over to app views comments. We want to be able to create a new file here. So we'll add another child node, call that new, and from there, that needs to be called, I think, is it new? I think it's new. Yeah, it's probably new. New, and then that is going to be called HTML herb. Oh no, herb. There we go. Right, did it. Okay. Actually, with new there, I don't think that actually is underscored. Let's change that. I'm going to move that, and we'll get rid of. Oh no, that and backspace. Okay, and yes. Okay, right. Hopefully that still works. Guess we'll find out. Okay, so what we want to create here is the new form to create a new comment. So we want a form with associated model, not mold. Form with associated model. Okay, great. So underneath here, so what we're going to have is the model here is going to be the post that we passed in before, and then the new association is going to be a new comment. So kind of like what we did in the console before, where we basically said, post.comments.create. This is kind of a similar thing. So we'll have a comment.new. So this will be a form for a new comment of a post. And then within that, what we'll want to do is, don't want to do that just yet. We want to say your comment, and we want to put a line break there. And then we want to be able to put in the text area. So let's put that in. We'll say form text area, and cool. So that text area will basically be the value for the content. Oh, where are we? Content. There we go. And for extra metadata or just other values in there, what we'll do is we'll say we'll give this particular text area a size, and we'll make it 20 by 5. Okay, and then below we'll just do a submit button. Form submit. All right. So while we're at it, now that we've created the form, let's go back also to the partial of the form itself, and we'll put in a counter to see how many comments a particular post has. So let's go back and find that. So post, and what we'll do is we'll place that under the contents. Sorry, the posted time, let's say. So we'll do another p tag, and won't worry about any of this. And we'll go strong tag yet again. And then in here, what we'll do is similar to what we saw in the other form, we'll use the pluralize method. And what we want to do is we want to pluralize the post comments.count. And so we want to be able to, so pluralize here will essentially show the correct grammar for the pluralization of a word. So we'll get 0 comments, 1 comment, 2 comments, rather than the same word for every number. Okay, so what we want to do here is now that we've put in what we want to pluralize, yes, we do want to define oops, actually, let's get back. The singular word for it is going to be comment. And I think that's pretty much all then we have to put in for now. I think that looks good. Okay, cool. So now that we know how we want to display comments, we now need to work our way back to the controller to tell Rails what we want to do during the comment creation process. So when we press that button to sort of submit a new comment, like what should actually happen. So much like with the posts, where when we create a post, it goes to the post controller. Comments, when we want to create them, goes to the comments controller as well. So let's go and have a look at the comments controller as well. The controller, and we want to have a look at comments controller. Okay, so since we generated a resource on the command line, and not a scaffold like with posts, Rails provides us with just the controller file, completely blank. It's in sort of an empty shell that we need to fill out ourselves. And we're going to need that create action, so let's go and write that up. So I want to create a controller class. Cool. Okay, so this is going to be for comments. Right. So before any of the actions here are run, so we'll eventually get around to creating to write in the create action here. But what we want to do is we want to run a callback method, so a method that will execute before any of the named actions execute. So here we want to run a method called setPost. And so what this will do is this will go and grab the first, we'll grab the post that we want to add a comment to from the database based on the post ID that gets submitted in that comment form, that form with associated model there that we saw. And so it then goes and fetches that and assigns it to this post instance here. And then next here we use what happens after that is that when we go and create a new comment, it will determine what information is going to go into the comments based off of these comment params here. And so inside this comment params method here, we use the require method here to reduce the scope of the params that we receive from a submitted form to focus on just the ones that are under the comment key there. So that params.require comment. And then we use the permit method here to filter down the comment params to just the ones that we want to allow to populate a comment. So in this case, what we want to do is have the content field there. And we do this to make sure that there's no unwanted params that end up sneaking through and potentially corrupt our comments or other parts of the system. So this is actually one of Rails' security features. So next up, we'll then go and then create a new. We'll create the create action here, and this isn't going to take any arguments here, so we'll get rid of that. And what we want is, now that we have the @post instance variable that we got from the setPost method, we have access to it now. So what we want to do is go. We want to take the post, and we want to do kind of similar to what we did in the command line that you saw before. So we want to basically take the post, grab its comments relation, and then create a new comment based off of the comment params that we saw just previously. Params. Okay, So we want to create that, but of course, once we create the comment, once that's been done, we want to redirect back. We want to redirect back to that particular post, so that we made the comment on. Okay. So once the comment is created, we redirect back to that particular post. So that redirect to our post refers to the post's show page. Okay, so now before we go and see how that's all turned out, we actually need to go and quickly go to our routes config. So let's open that up. Config routes. So the reason that we need to go to our routes here is because when we generated the comments resource here, a route was created for us for comments, assuming that we'd be using them independently of any other resource in the system. But for comments, they are dependent on posts. So without a post, there are no comments. So we have to have the comment routes reflect this by nesting them under the post routes. So what we'll do is we'll just we'll delete this, and then we'll paste it under the route there, and we'll just indent that a little bit there, and we'll go and we'll wrap this up in a block, and we'll say end. Okay, so while we are here as well, now that we have now that we've nested the comments routes underneath posts, we'll go down to the bottom here, and we'll set the root path of the application. So we'll uncomment this, and we'll go and oh, that is not what I wanted to do. Let's undo that. And we'll change word, and we'll say that for the root path, we want to have this be the posts. Okay. All right. So what this does is that even if we forget to put in the posts path that we saw before, even if we get to put it in, rather than see that Rails default welcome page, we'll see our posts index page instead. Okay, great. So basically, I should probably say that this particular string here, this syntax is just shorthand for saying send me to the index action of the posts controller. Okay, so let's go back, and we'll open our posts page in the browser, and we should probably refresh this. And now if we go to the rich text posts show page, where are we here? No. Where are we? Where was it? Oh, here we go. That's it. So if we go to that show page there, missing partial comments.new. I was right the first time around. It was _new. Let's quickly go back and fix that up. Okay, so we'll go over here, and we'll change this. We'll move it, and we'll go and change that. Great. Let's move over back to the to here. Refresh the page. Great. That fixed everything up. So we can see down the bottom there. Okay, cool. So here we go. So we can see that we've got 0 comments here on the page. Sorry, we've got 0 comments there, the counter for comments there, and then we've got like the entire comments dot, or the comments new partial being rendered here. that will enable us to be able to submit a comment. So it looks like it's waiting for us to put in a comment. So why don't we do just that? So let's do one comment, and let's get out of that and submit the comment, and whoops, send us back to the top of the page. Let's go down here, and oh, there we go. Okay, so comments. Let's do one comment. Great. So we can see that a comment has been created and displays for us there. And if we go and have a look at the server output, for example, if we go back, let's go back over to the terminal, and we'll switch over to the server output, and we'll go into Tmux copy mode, and we'll go back, and where are we here? So we can see, okay, cool, here we go, up here. We can have a look at the output, and we can see that we submitted the comment form, and it ran a post request to post/3/comments. So that nested route, that we ended up creating, it submitted a bunch of parameters with the form. Oops. So you can see here these parameters here. It includes a authenticity token to make sure that the request is valid, but of course it filters it from the log. So that's why Rails filters it, or that and a bunch of other secret information from the logs by default. And you can also see the submitted parameters there. So you can see that the comment scope that we required, and then the content param that we ended up permitting. And then you can see the backtrace of what methods were called during the submission. We can see here that, let's go over here. We can see here that the set post here was called during the callback, and then that called the create method here, and then that got redirected off. I think here we go. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. So it got redirected back off to the posts 3 show page, which then ended up getting rendered. So cool. So we can create posts, and those posts have comments. But if you wrote a post and someone commented on it, you'd want to know about it, right? Wouldn't you like to get an email about something like that? Sure you would. So let's use another Rails generator to enable us to do exactly that. We'll make our way back over to the terminal here, and we're going to create a comments mailer that will have one action on it that we'll call submitted. So we'll say Rails generate, and we want to call it a mailer, and we'll call it the comments mailer, and we want to have one action on it, and we're going to call it submitted. Okay, so you can see here that the amount of files generated for a mailer is significantly less than what we've seen before. There's no migration since we're not adding anything to the database. There's just the mailer files where we set up the information for the email. So the mailer itself is kind of like a controller, I guess. And then we've got the mail view templates, the template files that determine what the content of the email that gets sent out looks like. So let's go and check out that comments mailer file. Let's hide nerd tree here, and we'll have a look at the comments mailer file. I can't see it. Probably have to refresh here. There we go. Okay, at mailers comments. All right. So first thing that we'll edit here is in the comment mailer, what we want to do is have this this submitted method here, or this submitted action, receive a parameter, and we want that to be a comment of some sort. What we want to do then is once it's received that comment object, we will assign it to an instance variable, so it's available in the view. Let's go back, and we'll just we'll change this word over to be a comment, and let's get rid of that space, and move over here, and we'll delete all of that. And we'll assign this. Great. So now that comment is accessible in the views via that instance variable. Then we want to go and change the. What do we want to do here? We want to change the mail address to be the blog owner, so we can. What do I want to do here? So we'll change that address to be the blog owner. And we'll do that by just, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Nope. Okay. We'll just change that word here, and we'll do blog, oops, blog owner. Okay, that seems a bit better. Okay, and then we'll go to the end here, and what we also want to do though is not just change the email to address, but we want to give it a subject. And so that particular subject will be new comment. Okay. That probably looks pretty good. It's probably everything that we want to do with that. So now what we can do is edit the view templates for the mailer that gets sent out, and we can customize. Well, we edit the mail template so that we can customize the content of the email that gets sent out. So what we want to do here is go and open the. Well, what we'll do is let's split this here, split there, and we'll open up the submitted, right, the HTML email. Okay, cool. So what we'll do here is we'll just change in this tag, and we'll say that you got a new comment on, and then we'll say on the comment post title. So so on the post title. So we'll say we'll do herb exec, and in here we've got access to that that comment there. So we'll go comment.post.title. Okay, I think that should probably be okay for the heading. And then let's go and get rid of this, and there we go, and we'll create a new actual line here. So we've got it. So we've got a new comment on it, and then let's actually render the comment here. So render the instance, so that particular comment. So I just want to render the comment. Okay. So you can see here that even in the mailer, by using render comment, we're reusing the web view partial template for a comment that we created earlier. So in this way that we can put view logic in a single place and have it reused in many places around the application, leading us to require less code overall. Okay, so now that we've written the HTML email here, let's open up another split here, and let's open up the plain text version as well. And so that it will be submitted in plain text. And let's go and just grab this line here, and we'll let's just grab that. We'll bring it back down here, and we'll say we'll paste it. We'll get rid of this, and no HTML in here, so we have to get rid of this. And we'll say that you got a new comment on the comment post title, so that can all be the same. But here what we'll do is we'll just sort of say, we'll give it a colon, and then we'll put the comment content down the bottom there. So let's go and just get rid of this, and we'll say exec, exec, and we'll say that we want to render the comment content. So where are we? So comment content cont, no, right, there we go. Save that away. So now that we have both versions of the email done, Rails has an email preview feature that allows us to check and see what the email will look like should it get sent out. So let's go and open that up, or at least open up the code first. First, let's just close some of these splits here, and we'll have a look at the preview. Preview. Prev. Right, there it is. Had to finger spell that. Okay. Okay, cool. So in the comments mailer preview, which Rails generates for us, it just calls the comments mailer submitted, but we have passed in a parameter there, so we need to make sure that we add that in. Considering this is just a preview, we just want to like grab any old comment to display here. So what we'll do is we'll say I want to just grab the first comment out of the database and display it, whatever that is. So this is just like an arbitrary comment to render, and you can use anything from your database here. Any comment in the database doesn't really matter. We just put the first one in there. Let's go and then now jump to this URL that we can see above. Let's move over to Chrome, and we'll go debar. No, that's not what I wanted. debar, and we'll paste that in. Cool. Okay, so this is what the HTML version of the email looks like, and the plain text version can be selected from this dropdown. So we know that the mailer itself is working. So let's make sure, though, that we hook up our comments controller to this mailer, or make sure that that when a new comment gets created, that we actually do send that email. And so we do that in the controller. So let's go back to the code, and we'll go back to the controller. The controller for comments, Okay, so what we want to do is after the comment has been created, but before we redirect back to the post, we want to we want to be able to send an email with the content of that comment. But what we want to do here is, actually, we want to make sure that we take the content of this post. So when it gets created and then it gets returned, we want to store this in a local variable here, and then what we then want to go and do is pass that comment into the mailer. So we'll use our comments mailer dot, and we'll call submitted on that. So submitted, and then from there we'll pass in that comment. Great. Oh, put the cursor the other way around. Come on. There we go. And then what we'll then do is call deliver underscore later on it. And so deliver later uses a asynchronous job queue to send email in the background. So the sending of the email doesn't happen inline, which could potentially stop us from redirecting back to the post as soon as we're able to, and that could result in a bit of a more sluggish user experience. So yeah, we just sort of put it on the pile and let that email get sent off in its own time so we can redirect back as soon as we can. Okay, cool. So let's now make sure that this all actually works. Let's go back to the web browser, and we'll go back. Back. No, it's not playing ball. Okay, let's do this the manual way then. Okay, back over to the post show page where we have our comment form again, and what we now want to do is we'll send a comment via email. So send a comment via email, and we'll do that here. Okay, so it looks like the comment was actually created. Let's go and see in the server log if that email actually got sent or not. So we'll move over to the server logs, and we'll do copy mode, and we'll move a bit up here. Oh, look at this. Okay, so scrolling back, we can see here that an email is being sent to our blog owner at example.org here, and it is rendering an HTML where is it, the MIME? Sorry, like a multi-part email. It's basically rendering both the text, the plain text version and the HTML version here. So that's all well and good. And you can see here, if we look a bit further up, where is it here? Here we go. This line here, I think. Yeah. So you can see here that this has been queued up as an ActionMailer asynchronous delivery job. So the controller ended up queuing this up. In development, emails are sent using an in-process thread pool, but for production, you'd want to use a more robust queuing system like, say, Sidekick or Rescue. So yeah, our blog can now send emails, which is great. So now that it can send email, let's move over to our new requirement here, which is to make it feel a little bit more live. And by that I mean that currently, if two people are looking at the same blog post, so say for example, let's just go back over here, and let's just make this here, and then what we'll do is we'll open up a new window. Oh, no, that didn't work. There we go. And we'll open up a new, not a new tab. Well, I didn't want to do that. Let's close, switch tab, and then close that, and escape out of that. And then we want a new window. Okay, great. From here, let's we'll put that on the other side. So I want to do divi, move it over here, and let's just go over and copy this. And actually, sorry, what we'll do is we'll go and we'll go to the show post page, copy that, paste that there, get rid of divi, and okay, so let's go over to the new comment form here. So let's say that I create, so that one user who's looking at this creates a comment here. So we'll create a comment on the left side of the screen. So we'll do like refresh to see this, and we'll okay, so that comment got created here, but as you can see, the pages are now out of sync. But if I go and refresh this page, if I go, oh no, that is not what I wanted to have happen. Where did my page go? Oh, somehow found its way over here. Okay. So if I refresh this page, I needed to, well, yeah, I can finally see the comment, but unfortunately I needed to refresh that page. And what I would want to do is have these changes that could happen at any time just show up on the page instantaneously without us having to reload the page every time. And we can do this using the TurboGem, which is part of Rails's Hotwire stack, which is all about pushing HTML over the wire from the server to do partial browser page updates, with the goal of making server-side rendered pages as fast as single-page applications or SPAs. So Rails provides the ability to be able to add this functionality to our models in a fairly straightforward manner out of the box. So let's go and give it a try. So if we go back over to our terminal here, and let's go back over to our application, and we can sort of open up our application.js. So you can see here that we're all configured with Hotwire out of the box. So we're going to start using it by setting up a subscription to a TurboStream on the post show action. So let's go and open up the post show action here. All right, cool. And what we're going to do is we're going to add in a line up the top here, and we're going to use the method turbo stream from, and we're going to say TurboStream from post. And we're not going to want this. And I think that will probably be it. Yeah, should be it. Great. So this, we take this this TurboStream from method and we pass in the post instance variable that we want to get live updates of. What this does is open up a exclusive stream where we are listening out for the comments that are added to a post. And so now for every subscription that listens, so which is here, we need to have somewhere that does broadcasts. So this is a subscription. We need to now have broadcasts. So in this case, what we want to have is a comment be broadcasting out its changes to the post that it belongs to. So from here, what we'll do is we'll open up the comment. Oops, that's not spelt right. The comment model, and we'll add the line up here. Broadcasts. Is it broadcasts? Broadcasts 2, and we'll say that we want this to be the post, and we'll get rid of all of this. So this broadcasts this one line here broadcasts the comment create, update, and destroy actions to the post that it belongs to. Okay, cool. So now that the streams are hooked up, let's go and see them in action. So let's go back over to fix that up. Let's go back over to the browser, and let's switch windows there. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll refresh all of the tabs. Did that even work? Well, it might not have. Okay. Right. Now let's see if this actually works. So if one user posts a comment in here, so. Cool, it did. So it showed up instantaneously in the other user's browser. So the update to the page got delivered via WebSockets, and it doesn't matter whether the comments are created via a web page or by, say, the console. So we can do exactly the same thing there. So if we move back over to the Rails console, for example, let's go back over to our terminal, switch over to the console. I'll probably have to do a bit of a reload here because we've got a bunch of new stuff in there. And if we do, say, for example, actually, we should. Let's just move the console here as well. We'll go. We'll put that on the left side. Okay. All right. So if we do, say for example, so this is post with an ID of 3. So if we do posts find, and we'll find there we go. Find 3, and then we'll ask for the comments. Okay, so we can see here that we've got 4 comments. What we're seeing here in the console matches what we can see in the web browser there. And let's grab, say, the last comment there. Last one. So the last one is that a live comment? And let's destroy it. Destroy. Right, and it's gone. You can see that our action of destroying the last comment in the console also broadcast out that message, and the show post page got updated live in real time. So you can also see in the console the details of that broadcast, where it broadcasts out the TurboStream element where the action is to remove the content, and the target for the action is the comment with the DOM ID of comment 5. So aside from deleting, like I mentioned before, comments will also broadcast out when they are updated. So if we take the last comment and we update its content, so let's say, for example, we can find this and we can go and update it instead. Update, and let's say we'll do that. The content is updated from the console. And you can see that the update got sent out as well, and changed the content of that comment. So by default, creates, updates, and deletes are broadcast, but you are, of course, able to customize this to broadcast on other methods that you may add as well. Okay, so we've gone quite a long way with our blog here without touching one of the most important aspects of application development, tests. So let's at least give them a cursory look in. As we've been creating code, I should say, with the Rails generators, they've also been creating some default test files for us, which we can run with the command Rails test. So let's go and do that right now. Where are we here? So let's go. It's not what I want to do. Go back to the console. If we go Rails test. Okay, so we can see here that there is 2 failing tests. Let's make this console here kind of full screen. It's a bit better. Okay, so we have 2 failing tests. So let's have our next objective to make sure that we can get our test suite back to green and in a passing state. So the first test here is telling us that this one at the bottom here, I should say, it is telling us that we've got a problem when destroying posts, and that a foreign key constraint has failed. And so that failed constraint has to do with the relationship that posts have with comments, which we added after this test was generated. So if we delete a post and that post has comments associated with it, the post ID that each of those comments references, their foreign key to the post, becomes invalid and hence fails this test. So we can fix this pretty quickly by jumping back into the post model. Let's go and open that up again. So post model, and in our has many relationship here, in our has many comments, what we can do is add the condition of dependent, and then destroy. So what this will do is make sure that all a post's comments also get destroyed when a post is itself destroyed. So let's go back and see if that actually made the test pass. So run our tests again. And it did. We've only got 1 failing test remaining. And the error here is related to the comments mailer. And the test has a problem with the content of the email because we changed it. We changed the content of it after this test was generated. So this should be another straightforward fix. So let's get back and we'll open up the mailer test up here. Actually, let's just split this here, and we'll open up the mailer itself. The mailer, there we go. Okay. All right, so if we have a look at what our assertions look like. So the first thing that we have a problem with here is that the comments mailer submitted, it needs to accept a parameter. So it has a parameter containing a comment, so we need to do that here as well. So in the test, we essentially want to say, given some comment, we can make some assertions. And that some comment that we're going to use is a fixture. We'll use a fixture, which are data structures that provide default values for objects in tests. And so Rails actually provides a default set of fixtures for this. So if we'll let's open them up here. If I go here, if I then open up a fix. Oh, come on, fix. Right, here we go. For comments. Right, okay, got it, finally. Okay, so this is what Rails provides by default. You can customize these to your heart's content, but we'll be able to use them actually just as is, and we should just be able to pass the this comments one fixture inside of our test here. So say, for example, what we'll do here is we'll say, we'll put in here that we want to have comments and then the colon and then one. Oops. No, colon. Oh, actually, no, sorry, paren. There we go. Okay, so now that we've passed in a fixture, what we want to do is, even though that will make sure that the mail variable itself is valid, we can see here down the bottom that the mail2 address is not right. So it's from @example.com, and we ended up changing that to blog owner at example.org. So let's go and change that in here. So we'll change the mail address. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. We'll go back, and then I think that we want to change that word here, and that should be org. O-R-G. And then back over here, we'll change that word to also be blog owner. Okay, and the let's have a look here, and then the mail subject here also then needs to be changed. So if we do change in quotes here, and we'll do new comment. Okay, that seems to be okay. And then the mail body encoded assert match high. Well, that's also not going to be quite right, is it? So we'll end up having something along the lines of, if I remember them correctly, it's something like you got a new comment. So there should be some kind of match that says you got a new comment. Okay. So that, I think, should work, but let's go back and make sure that our tests actually reflect reality. Let's go back over to the console, run the tests again. Expected and actual. Oh, okay. Well, let's go back and change that then. Where are we here? So mail to, whoops. I did the mail from and the mail to the wrong way around. So let's do this. We'll go all the way over here and we'll just do change word, and that will be to, and then I think we'll just change this to change word, and that should be from. Okay, let's see if that works. I'll go back to the console. Where are we? Commerce mail expected to example.com. Mail to blog owner example.org, and then the from is the same. Okay, well, let's just put this as from as well. Hold on, is that even right? What was it again? To actual from example.com. Right, okay. No, screwed that up. Learn to actually read the error messages. Oops. Back, and then from. Okay. And then I think it was example.com, not all, wasn't it? Change word, and then we'll just do that. Right. Hopefully this will work now. Okay, great. We're back to green. So now that we've done all of that, let's consider this blog feature complete. And what we want to do now is to get this into the hands of other people by deploying it out to production. To do that, we're going to use Heroku, since it is a nice developer-friendly way to get apps into production quick. Since Heroku runs on a different platform to my local machine, I'm on a Mac while Heroku's machines run Linux, I'll need to add their platform to the blog's gem file, like so. So we've got to do bundle lock, and then add plorm, and then Linux. Cool. Okay, so that's been done. Now what we need to do is add everything to Git version control. So we'll do we'll add everything to Git, and we'll do git commit with a message. Git commit. No, not comment. Git commit with a message of first commit. Cool. Okay. Now we need to do a Heroku create. So we'll create an app on Heroku. Fantastic. And then we'll do git push Heroku main. Okay, great. Looks like we have deployed successfully, and we've been assigned a URL of Sleepy Fjord 42359. Before we go and take a look at it, there's a couple of things we still need to do. The first is migrate the database, which we'll do by running Rails commands via Heroku's CLI tool. So what we will do here is we'll go Heroku run rake db migrate Git migrate, and hopefully this should work okay. All right, that's looking pretty good. Great. So now we also need to add Redis on as an add-on to our application, because Redis is used by the Turbo setup to send live updates back and forth. So we'll go Heroku, add Redis, we'll do Redis. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I think everything should be set up now. So let's go and have a look at that live URL. So hopefully we can just do. We can go back. Where are we? We can go back up and find that URL, or not. Let's just do Heroku open. Cool. Looks like we are all deployed. So the app is live. It is empty since it has its own database, but we can certainly add entries here. So for example, we can go and actually let's just zoom in a bit here as well. Let's go zoom. There we go. All right, let's go and add a new post here. We can go and add a new post. It's we'll just say that where are we here? We're like this is the first post. And here we'll do this is the first post content. So this is the first post content, and cool, that seems to have worked. And then if we leave a comment as well, we'll say this is the first comment. And cool, that seems to have worked as well. So the only thing that won't work here yet is file uploading, because we don't have S3 or any other kind of cloud provider for file storage set up. But you can check out the Rails documentation on how you can get that configured up. So we know that we can create posts okay. Let's see if we can do those live comments there as well. So let's copy this over to, let's open up, say, like a new tab here, and then we'll paste in that URL. All right, we're now looking at the same page, and now let's go. This is the second comment, and live update works. Fantastic. So we have the application up and running in production, backed by a live setup that uses Redis. And so that's our blog. We've gone from first lines of code to a working app in production, and most importantly for this demo, we've done it all using Steno. Hopefully this demo has been able to demonstrate that you can use Steno even during software development. And if you'd like to give it a try, or you want to get more information about Steno and how you can get started, you can go to the Open Steno project website, where you'll find links to download Plover, as well as other Steno learning resources. And you can get involved with the community by joining the Plover Discord. So thanks very much for bearing with me through this blog journey with Steno, and I wish you luck on your steno journey. Thanks very much.